Hi guys! So recently I hosted a giveaway, and for that giveaway to enter, all you guys had to do was ask me questions for a Q&A. That's what today's video is me answering all the questions that you guys asked. The first category of questions is work and school, and the first question is, what did you major in and do you have a career in that? My degree was in music education with an emphasis on strings pedagogy, and yes, I have a career in that. For a living, I teach private violin lessons. What age or grade do you teach? I've taught as young as 5 years old and as old as 73. Where did you go to college? Arizona State University. What is your past work experience? I've had to be a cook for a summer camp. I've also taught sectionals at high schools before. I have done gigs. I have also worked fast food. I've worked retail and had a summer job where I worked at a company that my mom works at where all day, literally all I had to do was scan boxes and boxes and boxes of documents. So for 8 to 9 hours a day, I just scanned stuff. What was your favorite subject in school? It was history because story time for an hour. How hard is it to balance work, reading, and writing? It's not too bad, but I'm also really fortunate to have a decent amount of spare time. Next category of questions is hobbies, personal, and random. What are your hobbies besides reading? I love to draw. I love to write. Oh, I love video games. How did you and your husband meet, and what was your first date? At the School of Music, where I went to school. Our first actual date, we ended up going bowling, and at the end of the night, I kissed him. It was lots of fun. If you weren't writing a book and didn't read it all, what would you be doing? I would probably be playing my violin a lot more. So what is something non-bookish about you? The fact that I draw. Here is one of my drawings for the book I'm writing. What got you into video games? Both my parents worked when I was a kid, and they figured it was like just fine if my older sister watched me. Sometimes she would play video games with me. She never played with me. I think she hated me as a kid, but she never hung out with me except pretty much when we played video games together. As a kid, that was like, I was so excited to get to hang out with like my big sissy and stuff, and I just like loved playing video games with her. And then eventually she stopped doing that with me, and then I kept playing the video games because I actually turned out that I really liked them. What are some of your favorite TV shows? BoJack Horseman, House of Cards. I especially love the first season of Daredevil, but Daredevil in general is great. Friends, Parks and Rec, Frasier, A Game of Thrones, So You Think You Can Dance. Next question is similar. It is what are my favorite movies? I love comedies, but I also really love epic, sad, depressing movies like Gladiator, Logan. I really love the movie John Q with Denzel Washington. What's something people would be surprised to know about you? I have never paid for a haircut, and I don't mean like I've gone and gotten my haircut and then like ran out of there like some haircut bandit. I mean only myself and my mom have ever cut my hair. What is your biggest dream? If I could become a full-time writer and then in my spare time do charitable acts, that would be like perfect life. Who are my celebrity crushes? I absolutely love, it is total girl crush, but also because she does a lot of really good things for a lot of people, I love Angelina Jolie. The next question is, how old am I? 24. What is an irrational fear you have? And most definitely anything to do with eyeballs. Yeah, I just can't. I can't handle anything to do with eyes. What is your favorite makeup brands? Where do you buy your makeup? It's always on point. I buy pretty much all of my makeup at the drugstore. Brands that I use the most are L'Oreal and Maybelline. The next category is travel. Have you ever been to Croatia? And no, I have not. Where is your favorite place to travel? I haven't traveled that much, so I don't know that I can particularly say. Which South American countries do you want to visit? I don't know particularly. What is my personal nationality, and do I speak any other languages? Half Cuban, and the other half is Native American and German. It's a mix. No, even though my grandparents are from Cuba, I don't speak Spanish. I don't speak any other languages. How do you pick the perfect book for a plane ride? It's not a good person to ask because I get nauseous. If you could travel back in time, which time period would you pick? 50s, 60s. Music was fantastic. Do you know anything about Romania? That's where I'm watching you from. And no, I don't know like anything. Now to the bookish questions and writing questions, of which there are a lot of. Who is the most influential or inspiring author to you? And I would have to say Judson Roberts. If you could suggest a book to a non-reader, what book would it be? Tuesdays with Maury. What were your favorite childhood book or books? There are these little books called Macduff, and on the cover of, and like in the book, they're picture books, they have this little dog, and he's a West Highland White Terrier, and we had a Westie when I was a kid, and normally I love big dogs, but that little dog was like, had so much personality, and he loved me and I loved him, and so as a kid I loved those books because I had books that had my little doggy in them. What is the first book that got you into reading fantasy or just books in general? And it's actually not a book that got me into reading and into fantasy. It was the video game Final Fantasy X because I love that game. What are your favorite non-fantasy books? Red Rising, A Walk to Remember, The Strongbow Saga, Tuesdays with Mori, Burial Rites. What is your first bookish memory? I remember as a kid I had this book. It was a little picture book. There was like a whole series of them, but this one specific one was about this little horse, and its mom was always like, hey, don't go over by the waterfall, it's dangerous over there. And the horse was like, I'm adventurous, and it went over there and didn't listen and ended up like slipping, and then it like fell and it like broke its legs, and I'm pretty sure metaphorically it died because then a unicorn or like a Pegasus or something finds it and is like, you can't go back to your mom anymore, but you're gonna come with us now. The little baby horse is like looking up at its mom and like the rest of the horses, and it's like, oh no, but like it leaves with the unicorn Pegasus or whatever it was. Next question is favorite booktubers, and I don't have any specific favorites. If you could choose any fictional character to be your best friend, who would you choose? Temeraire from the Temeraire series. Temeraire is a dragon, so that would be pretty awesome all on its own. And Temeraire is adorable. If you released a comic or graphic novel, what kind of art would you have? Greg Rucka, I think is his name, who does Lazarus. The next question I'm embarrassed to admit the answer to. It is, what made you start your channel? I initially started my channel because when I finished my first draft of my book, I was like out looking at information about publishing. There was a surprisingly low amount of useful information on the internet about publishing. So I was like, I should start a channel so that other writers can talk and we could all like become a community. I have hardly filmed any writing videos since. The next question is, how do you keep your notes and your thoughts organized? And I tend to use a lot of journals. What are your long-term booktube goals? Get to connect with more of you and talk to more of you, and eventually try to include a lot more writing videos. Next question is favorite genre, and that would be fantasy. Do you have any auto by authors? Brandon Sanderson and V.E. Schwab. What adult fantasy would you recommend to young adult fantasy readers? And that totally depends on the kinds of books you like in YA, but I would love to do a video. Next question is, what book comes to mind when you think of books in general? And the Bible. When do you think your book will be published, or the book that I'm working on, the next year and a half to maybe 2 years? If you could say one sentence to one author, what would it be? And I would probably ask Brandon Sanderson, like, hey man, why did you have to break my heart at the end of Mistborn? Average number of books you read in a week, between 2 to 3. Tips to improve reading habits. I would love to do a video entirely about this specific topic. The longest series I've ever read when I was a kid, it was probably The Magic Treehouse. What series do you wish had more books? There isn't a particular series I can think of. What is one of my favorite quotes? Smart people learn from their mistakes and wise people learn from other people's mistakes. The next question I can't answer right now, but I kind of would love to do a video about this, and that is, who would you cast to play Geralt, Dandelion, and Yennefer in the new Netflix Witcher series that is coming out? If you could read one book for the rest of your life, what would it be? I don't think I could pick. What bookish world do you wish you lived in? I don't wish I lived in any bookish world because I would most definitely die. Next question, have you always been a reader, or did something get you into reading? I guess I've always been a reader. Nobody else in my family reads, like, at all. So I guess it's innate. I just like stories. Do you ever buy books based on the covers without even reading the back? And no, technically if I see a cover I really, really, really like, I'll force myself to read the back, but if I'm being honest, a lot of times I'm basically just buying it for the cover, and I don't even remember what the synopsis said until I like look at it again later. Who is your favorite Throne of Glass character? And I've only read the first 3, so I'd have to say Hale, and I like the guy in the third one, Rowan, because he just like beats up Leda all the time, and it's hilarious. And have you read A Court of Thorns and Roses? And yes, I have. Who is your favorite character in Witcher? I like Geralt and Yennefer. I love them both. And I like Regis, and I like Milda. Ciri when she gets older. Dandelion's funny. I like a lot of them. Do you like the Mortal Instruments, and do you like the show? And I honestly read the first Mortal Instruments when I was in high school, and I do not remember it, and then I haven't seen the show. Favorite fantasy series, hands down, Mistborn. Do you listen to music while you read, and do you have a music reading playlist? And generally no, I tend to not read to music, but I do have a reading playlist for when I get an itch to read to music. I'll link it down below. You could have dinner with one author, dead or alive, or bookish people. Who would you pick and why, and what would you serve? I guess Andrzej Sapkowski, V.E. Schwab, Brandon Sanderson, Tolkien, C.S. Lewis, and then just like all my favorite book characters. That's another question. Who are your favorite book characters, or just characters in general? I love Geralt and Yennefer, Vin, Holland, Bigby, Snow, and Balthier from Final Fantasy XII. And I would of course serve fried chicken because fried chicken is my favorite thing in the world to eat. What is your favorite book cover? I'm totally gonna make a video with my favorite book cover, so I'm not answering that right now. What book character do you identify with the most? And even though it doesn't seem like it, Vin, what's the title of the book you're writing and what is its genre? The main one that I mentioned the most on my channel is epic fantasy, and the title is Peace and Turmoil, and the other one that's kind of a side thing right now is dark fantasy. What book or books have been the most disappointing for you? And I think just because it was so hyped up, I would have to say A Court of Mist and Fury. What made you start writing your own book? Honestly, I've been writing it since I was a kid. I used to write it all the time, and it kind of just used to be something I did, and then I started seriously considering it and pursuing it when I was in college, when I had that really awful, boring scanning job, because I would think about it all the time as I was like scanning the documents, and I was like, I should just like actually write this down. I should write this book. I think about it all the time. Favorite mystery book? I don't know. I don't read mystery, and it's not because I have anything against it. I just don't know any. So if you guys have good mystery recommendations, leave them down below because that is a genre I think I would really love. Favorite villain? Holland. How do you write? What's your writing process? Totally gonna make a video all about that. I can't talk about that in a timely manner right now. Do you ever read self-published books? Yes, I have a self-published book on my TBR right now. It's called Shiva. How do you pick a book to read? I make like a list of all the books I really want to get to, and then I figure out how long has it been since I read the last book in this series, or what's a new series I want to start, or what's something a lot of people have told me about, or what's something that a lot of other people want to buddy read. When, how, why did you start reading consistently? In the past year and a half. Why is because I wanted to make it a habit. How? I just forced myself to do it. Most anticipated release of 2018, whatever Brandon Sanderson puts out. Favorite booktube videos to watch? I really love when people take a collection of a certain genre or something and they're like, here are my recommended fantasy reads, here are my recommended young adult reads, or whatever. I love those kind of videos. What comics would you recommend? I have not read enough comics to be able to make recommendations, but my husband recently just made a video about comics for people who are non-comic book readers, so I'll link that up above and down below. What's a book that you wish you'd read sooner? I haven't read Lord of the Rings. Do you get book hangovers? If yes, how do you deal with them? Yes, I get book hangovers. I guess if I'm like in a reading slump though, I tend to find a book that I like know that I'm gonna probably enjoy, so a book within a series or something, and I'll usually pick that up. What do you think of the classics, and do you have a favorite? I honestly haven't read like any classics. Before BookTube, how did you choose the next book to read? I would just peruse the bookstore, find something I thought was interesting, and buy it. What's a genre you usually don't reach for? Pretty much everything that's not fantasy. What's an author that you have not read but want to? Kind of going back to Lord of the Rings thing. Tolkien. Why do you enjoy reading? I love being able to connect with other people. It sucks when you like really love something and nobody else knows about it and likes it. There's just something so healthy and fun and happy about when somebody loves something and you can have a conversation with them about it. Do you feel like BookTube pressures you to buy more books? You guys leaving your recommendations. Yes, but it's totally okay. I want your recommendations. What is your favorite YA series? The Strongbow Saga by Judson Roberts. What books have helped you the most in your writing journey? And as cheesy as it sounds, I would say all books, because whether I love them or I hate them, every book has qualities that I can learn from. Would you ever consider writing a screenplay? Absolutely. Do you have any reading rituals? The thing really that I absolutely have to have is I have to be comfortable. Which character would you marry? Big B from Fables. I love Big B. Favorite underrated book? The Strongbow Saga that I mentioned a second ago. What book do you want to read to your children? I don't want any children. What book would you take with you to a deserted island? And I'm hoping I'm going to this deserted island on vacation, and if that's the case, I'm gonna take something fluffy and light that I don't mind getting sandy and a little wet. Do you like reading ebooks, and if so, how do you organize them? And no, I do not like ebooks, so I don't know how to organize them. What do you think of Agatha Christie? I don't know who that is. Have you read Everything, or seen the movie? Nope. What book made you cry the most? Books don't make me cry. And what book makes you the happiest? And nothing I read makes me happy. I need more light, fluffy, happy reads. How much time do I spend a day writing? And it's really sporadic, so I don't have a set amount. Have you read any of Gillian Flynn's books? Or Gillian Flynn? No, I haven't. How do you get over writer's block? I'm totally gonna make a video about that. In your book, what does the world look like? And the world is a giant hosh-posh of our world, but in different combination. And there's magic, and it's sometimes violent. How often do you watch other booktube videos, comment on booktube videos, and seek out new booktubers? I don't really like seek out new booktubers. I just kind of, if I see a video, I'll watch it. I try to watch and comment on videos every day, although that sounds like a lie because just recently I went to update something with YouTube and it totally messed things up and it deleted like every comment I've ever left. I promise I do comment, but it looks like I don't now. Do you have any bookish tattoos, and if so, will you show them? And no, I don't have any bookish tattoos, but if I did, I would totally show you guys. What is your writing style? Character driven. How would you describe your main characters? I would love to do a video about my characters also. Anyway, that's it. Finally, that is all the questions. I'm gonna try really hard to edit all of this down so it's not crazy long. But anyway, if you guys liked the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Click little bell icon to get notified when I post new videos, and check out some of my videos right over here. Have a great day, and I will see you guys later. Bye.